You know what's worse than being ignored? Being ignored by your own family, in public, while everyone laughs along. Lauren Ellison had sat through years of that. Years of being the other sister, the quiet one, the one nobody talked about at dinner, the one who didn't get asked how work was going because nobody thought her work was worth asking about. She was just there, like a chair nobody sits in. But here's the thing about people who get overlooked for too long. They stop trying to be seen. They just get really, really good at what they do. And one day, without warning, the room finds out exactly who they were ignoring. This is that day. Lauren is the younger of two sisters. Her older sister, Vanessa, was always the star. Prettier, louder, funnier at parties. The kind of person who walks into a room and immediately everyone turns. Their parents adored her. Extended family always asked about her. Vanessa got the applause. And Lauren got the leftover attention, which was almost none. Growing up, Lauren learned to disappear. Not because she was weak, but because fighting for scraps of attention from people who weren't really paying attention anyway felt pointless. So she put her head down, studied hard, worked harder, built a career in corporate consulting, the kind of work where you walk into struggling companies, figure out what's broken, and fix it. She was good, really good. But nobody in her family knew that because nobody in her family ever asked. To them, she was still the quiet little sister who sat in the corner at Christmas. Now here's where the story shifts. Vanessa got engaged. His name was Daniel Cho. Successful, sharp, ran his own investment firm. The engagement party was held at a fancy venue. Think fairy lights, open bar, catered food, the whole thing. Lauren was invited, obviously. She's family. But being invited and being welcomed are two very different things. From the moment Lauren walked in, she could feel it. The way conversations didn't naturally include her. The way her mom kept floating over to Vanessa's side like a moth to a light bulb. A cousin made a comment early in the night. Something like, "Oh, Lauren actually showed up." And a few people laughed. Not mean laughing, worse, dismissive laughing. The kind that says you're not even worth being mean to. At one point, someone asked Vanessa about her sisters, and Vanessa, with a glass of champagne in her hand and a smile on her face, said, "Oh, Lauren? She's around here somewhere. She's kind of irrelevant to the story." People chuckled. Lauren heard it from 6 feet away. She didn't cry. She didn't leave. She just stood there holding her drink, feeling that specific kind of hurt that only family can give you. The kind that doesn't cut, it just presses. He was doing the rounds, meeting everyone, being a good host. He made his way to Lauren, extended his hand, and introduced himself. Lauren said her name. Said she was Vanessa's sister, and Daniel froze. Not in a rude way, in a confused, trying to process way. He tilted his head slightly, the way you do when you hear a song and can't remember where you know it from. Then he said quietly, almost to himself, "Wait, that voice." "I know that voice." Lauren looked at him, not sure what was happening. He said, "Were you at the Henderson Group restructuring?" "About 8 months ago?" Lauren blinked. "Yes, I led that project." The room wasn't paying attention yet, but Daniel's entire face changed. His posture changed. He straightened up like someone had just told him the quiet woman in the corner was actually the one who wrote the book everyone in his industry had been reading. Because here's what Lauren didn't know, and what nobody at that party knew. The Henderson Group deal was a massive one, a $40 million restructuring project for a company that was 6 months from collapse. Lauren had been the lead consultant. She'd spent 4 months in boardrooms, on calls, delivering hard truths and harder solutions. Daniel's firm had been a silent investor in Henderson. He had been on one of those calls. He had never seen her face, only heard her voice, but he had told people in his circle that whoever the woman was running, that project was one of the sharpest people he'd ever heard in a room. He had told people that for months, and now she was standing in front of him at his engagement party, being called irrelevant by his future wife. Daniel didn't make a scene. He didn't embarrass Vanessa. He's not that kind of person. But what he did was quieter and more powerful than any dramatic confrontation could have been. He stayed by Lauren's side for the next 20 minutes. He called his business partner over. He introduced Lauren, not as Vanessa's sister, but as the consultant who saved Henderson. His partner's eyes went wide. They started asking her questions, real questions, about strategy, about her methods, about a project they were currently dealing with. Lauren answered every single one, calm, clear, confident, because this was her world. This was the room she actually lived in. People started noticing. You could see it happen in real time. The slow turn of heads, the confused looks from family members who had never once asked Lauren what she did for work. Her mom, who had been glued to Vanessa all evening, drifted over with a look on her face that was somewhere between proud and embarrassed, because she realized she wasn't sure she even knew what her own daughter did for a living. Vanessa noticed too. You couldn't miss it. Her little sister, the irrelevant one, was now the center of her engagement party. Not because she'd done anything loud or dramatic, but because the man Vanessa was marrying had pulled back a curtain that the family had spent years refusing to look behind. Nobody said anything big that night. There was no argument, no tearful apology, no movie moment. Real life doesn't really work like that. But something shifted, permanently. On the drive home, Daniel told Vanessa, honestly and gently, that her sister was one of the most respected names in a very specific and very serious industry. That people in his circle talked about her work. That he had genuinely not connected the name to her family because nobody in her family had ever mentioned it. Think about that. Lauren had built a career that was discussed in boardrooms her own family never knew existed. Not because she hid it, but because nobody ever asked. There's something that sticks with you about this story, and it's not really about revenge. Lauren didn't plan any of this. She wasn't waiting for a moment. She just kept doing her work, kept being good, kept showing up, even at a party where she wasn't really wanted. The world does this to quiet people all the time. It assumes that silence means emptiness. It assumes that the loudest person is the most important one. It looks at someone who doesn't fight for attention and decides they must not deserve any. But the most capable people in almost any room are rarely the ones performing. They're the ones listening, thinking, and waiting for the moment when what they actually know becomes impossible to ignore. Lauren didn't get revenge. She just got seen, finally, completely, and by exactly the right person. And that was enough. If this story hit different for you, the next one on your screen right now is even heavier. You don't close the tab.